Foul ball. Foul ball. Sir?
Home run.
Sir? Foul ball. Oh. Beat Boles.
Good to see you, Dave.
Wrong seat.
No. I thought I was the guest speaker.
Your mic's not on.
Your mic's got to be put on. So, good morning. Breakfast with the Broker every Tuesday at 9 a.m. or thereabouts. Well, Brian was out taking a listing, so he needed a little time. So, right?
Good to see you, Dave.
Good to see you too. So, you may wonder what I was throwing Brian Boles. He recently just became the Circle of Legends. Very few in the RE/MAX organization are awarded that, so congratulations.
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome. This is close.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, everyone out there. My first interview, Lenny.
Luckily, it's a casual one. So, I mean, listen, you've been obviously a good friend of mine and a very successful agent. And, you know, the market is, you know, everyone's talking about a shifting market and a soft market and all these different things. Tell us a little bit about what your insight may be in today's market.
I think in every market there's opportunities. I've been in the real estate business over 30 years, started in Illinois and then moved to Florida in 98. I remember when interest rates were 17% and everyone said no one's going to buy a home when it's 17%, and they were buying like crazy. Now we're at the second lowest all-time interest rates. 2012 was the first for lowest interest rates, and now today we're under 4%, 3.5 to 3.75. So there's great opportunities for the buyers. I think it's we're going to have to adjust our pricing and be more price conscious, and people aren't making low offers like they used to, or just submitting low bids. You have to be within striking distance of where they're going to make their bid.
And how do you convince a seller? Because, you know, that pricing is so important, the entry point into the market is so important. How do you convince a seller to say, hey, you're sitting down on a listing and they want to list it high, you know, 5-10% high or even more? You know, how do you convince them to say, listen, this, you know, because they always, you know, the old, you know, they always say, oh, I can always go down, you know, I can't go up. You know, what's your rebuttal to that?
My rebuttal is that the market's changed. When you go in a listing nowadays, they always talk about what their neighbor got 6 months ago. 6 months in our market can change dramatically, like the stock market. Right now, we're having trouble in the stock market going up and down. Our market's starting to be more opportunistic, so you need to go in there and show them new comps. I don't think you want to text a seller. I think we need to do more face-to-face. Say, here's where we are now. Here's how many new listings came up. Here's your competition. Here's what they offer. Here's what you offer. I think we should be here. No texting, no emails, go face-to-face.
You mean realtors have to actually speak to someone?
Speak to someone,
no.
Yeah. Yeah,
Really?
they even have to answer their calls.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Crazy.
Get back to the basics and
What?
fundamentals. What's that?
I said what?
What?
Call people? Well,
Yeah.
what do you say when people say I don't like to call people?
I don't like to call people?
Yeah.
Well, they're in the wrong business. You better not go into real estate. And listen, I would love to make a great living and not have to call anyone, but I haven't figured that out yet. So you better be able to talk to someone.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think you know, we've become a little complacent as a real estate industry, and you know, important things. Listen, you know, if you're confirming an appointment, you know, texting an agent or texting a seller saying, hey, are we good for 10 a.m., you know, is fine. But when you get into the real crux of it, and there's an important decision to be made, like an offer, or like a price reduction, or like certain things that happen during the listing, I agree with you 100%. It's got to be done either in face, you know, face-to-face is preferable. If face-to-face can't be done, they're out of town, whatever, then, you know, call them. You know, a lot of times we do videos too.
Well, I
know
think,
you love the video.
yeah, I'm not a YouTube video guy. Thank you.
Yeah, but you're a YouTube
But
star.
here's the thing. I think texting the message comes across wrong. And I've heard so many people say, oh, I misconstrued your text message. Well, they don't misconstrue as much when you're face to face. And if they do, you can talk about what you meant. You can't, it's hard to take a text back.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. So, I mean, you know, through I mean, listen, you're a prospecting machine, right? So you continue to prospect every day. Tell us a little bit about what your schedule is. Because, you know, I mean, I've always been impressed by, you know, the consistency that you've had for this many years to come in, you know, at certain days, and you, I mean, you even do a, you know, Friday movie day, you know, like you're very, very regimented in your habit tracking and all of that. So, which is really maybe a key to your success.
I think it's definitely helped. I go to bed about 10, wake up about 4, start looking at the emails that I have to respond to, start preparing my day. I never wanted to be one of those, and I was taught by a guy named Dave Dombrowski, who's the president of Boston Red Sox, how organized he was, and I thanked him when I bumped into him. He would come in early, get us prepared, so when the staff came in, we were ready to rock and roll. No going to the coffee machine for 20 minutes, no, you know, how was your weekend for a half hour? We're ready to roll once, you know, when my staff comes in at 8:30, they're ready because I've prepared their day for them.
Right. And what does your day look like? You know, I mean,
wake up about 4, come to the office about 5, prepare for the day from about 5 to 6 or 5 to 6:30, go to the gym for about an hour, go home, maybe watch Sports Center, and then come back in 8:30, 9, and then usually I'm done by 5 unless I have showings that night, 4:35.
Great. And what does your weekends look like?
What weekends? Do real estate people have weekends? Weekends, pretty good. I'm on call on Sundays, and on Saturdays, you know, about a half a day now. You know, the longer you've been in the business, you prepare better and you're more balanced. We need balance in real estate. I think too many people think I'm working over 100 hours a week. They'd be shocked at, like, I have movie day on Friday afternoons, or I'm at a ball game on a Saturday in spring training, or, you know, I do have a life. So, and I think that helps that you have something to look forward to. I can't wait to see Notre Dame play Georgia at Georgia. I was supposed to go to Alabama, but someone let me down.
Jamie Doherty.
Jamie, where are you? Jason, I've never been to Alabama.
Well, hopefully we'll get there soon. But you know, the funny thing is when we talk about movie day, you know, you don't stop even working when you're looking at movies. I hear. Just kidding.
Yeah, there's been a few almost fist fights in the movie theater. So I sit in the back row and just so no one can see my phone glare on them. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, he's that guy who texts and maybe takes a couple phone calls during the movie. But he's in the back corner, don't worry.
Yeah, I'm in the corner.
If you see Brian, say hello. I mean, listen, we're, you know, being successful, you know, obviously consistency is so important, persistency, which obviously you have. Tell us a little bit about, you know, whenever I said, you know, hey, don't worry about something, or, you know, your ears perk up and, you know, you worry about it more. You know, you have, you know, just in dealing with you for so many years, there's a lot of traits that I admire about you, but one of the main traits is that you don't let things go. I mean, you know the market in and out. You know, Mr. Smith sold on, you know, XYZ's street, you know, 2 years ago, and they used this agent and all that. Tell us about the preparation and how you came about really getting and honing in that specific, you know, really information on the market.
I do a lot of research. You know, I think there's a lot of top agents I know out there that will research, you know, the properties, the past history, what the trends are today, what's moving, what's not moving. So it's amazing. I don't remember what I had for dinner last night, but I'll remember 15 years ago that selling that house to that couple. Maybe they say because it means something to me, but yeah, I have screens in front of me, so I'll research like market trends, see I'll put pending from 8/1 to what are we today, 8/27, and see what's moving. Is 3 to 5 moving? Is 3 to 1.5 moving? What's moving? And then I try to adjust my prices or what listings I'm going to go after because I see the market trending a different way. So I think, like opportunities for buyers right now with the low interest rates and the prices I think the prices are pretty reasonable right now on some homes between 3 and 5. And I don't know why people would rent and not jump into the market.
Yeah, no, I agree. And and the other thing that you do very well is from really like.
You love me, Dave, don't you? Thank
you.
you.
Don't worry, I got a few negatives that I got for you too.
All right, thank you.
Your ego's about this big now.
We've only been together about 20 years. My longest relationship.
Yeah, we even slept in the same room. Almost in the same bed.
We're not that close.
No. Just kidding. So you're friends with a lot of agents, and the great thing about cooperating with other agents and speaking to other agents, you speak to them regularly. I mean, I hear, hey, I just spoke to this agent, or I spoke to this agent, and you speak to the top agents, maybe your competitors, just to say, hello, see how they're doing, see, what their market is and stuff like that, and you gather information, you give, and you've always been a very big sharer. But tell us a little bit about why you do that.
We need each other in this market. 2% of all listings are sold by the listing agent, I believe is the number. So I need the agents to sell my listings. I need them to come show my listings. Do we all get along? No. Is it a competitive field? Yes. But we need each other. So there's no reason, even if you don't want to have dinner with an agent, not to show their listing and try to make a deal. It's all about finding your client the best home, and if an agent who's a competitor has that home, show it. Who cares? I mean, not everyone's gonna like Brian Boles or Dave Searle or Rebecca's, but
everyone loves me.
Yeah, everyone loves Rebecca, but we should all try to cooperate because we could even do better, and homes wouldn't sit on the market as long.
Yeah, agreed. Cooperation and collaboration in the market is so important, especially as we hear all these reports of the softening market and and you and I believe obviously of an opportunistic market, because as you said, listen, when we go through certain trends, actually when you go into a little bit of a down market, not to say there's a down market, but a softer market than you normally would have, you tend to weed out the people that aren't professionals.
Right.
I mean, there are a lot of agents out there. I mean, 187,000 realtors. That means agents that are members of the board, and probably another 30% of, probably another 50,000 that aren't members of the board. So you're talking about 225,000 real estate agents, licensed real estate agents in the state of Florida. That's a lot of real estate agents, and a third of them don't do any business. It's crazy, when we're looking at, being successful and such, when you're meeting with sellers and listening, what are your prospecting tools? Is there something that you can share with the audience as far as, how do you get so many listings? Because you typically carry quite a bit of listings.
I think it comes down to, one, I've been here since '98, so I've been consistent with my postcards to like 17 neighborhoods for 20 years. Number two is 92% of all listings are sold by websites, so we're all using professional photographers, drones. The game has changed in the last 30 years. It's all come down to websites and contacts in different states or Canada even or wherever. So we use 60 websites at RE/MAX. I'll just use RE/MAX as an example, and we go to 117 countries. So if they say 92% of your sales are coming from online shoppers almost, we do a lot of online marketing.
Yeah.
From Facebook to LinkedIn. I never thought I'd be into Facebook, but I mean, people will come up to you and say, oh, I saw your new listing, and you don't think they're paying attention, and they know. So
it's amazing, when you look at the online, people stop me or stop whoever's doing video and marketing, whatever, and people will say, oh, they'll joke and they'll say, oh, can you stop freaking, showing your face in all these different places. But that's all right, because that means they're watching. That means that other people are watching. So yeah, the marketing for, we've almost become, as far as real estate agents, or the role of a real estate agent really has become, you're a marketing agent. You're a marketing agent, you're a collaborator, you're a cooperator, and that's different. So tell us what your thoughts of what the role of a real estate agent, maybe in the next 3 to 5 years, because a lot of things are changing. You got the Zillow offers are in South Florida now. Not to say that the iBuyer programs that are out there. All these different things are putting real estate on, agents, maybe even on edge, right? But really, I believe it's going to help our market.
I think it's going to weed out some of the bad philosophies of some agents. I talked to a friend of mine who I really respect, and he said, Brian, I'm going to change my whole marketing strategy. I said, what are you going to do? And he said, I'm going to pay more than so if it's a 6% commission, he's going to now pay 3.5% to the selling agent and take 2.5%. So I think we're going to start seeing where, one, homes are priced more accordingly, two, that there may be bonuses or better commissions offered to the selling agent. I think that's going to shift. Right now we're seeing a lot of low commissions and discount brokerages, and I think it's going to shift back to where we need to grab someone's buyer by offering them maybe the best commission, the best price, all those factors.
Right, and then it's the buyer's agent, choice or decision as to maybe to make a deal, to keep a deal together, to make a deal. They're going to have more money to be able to credit to a particular buyer, to make the deal work. Inspection comes along, and that's really what's great. I mean, you don't lose too many deals. I mean, most of your deals go through. And the reason is because you know how to navigate the obstacles and all of that, but you also you keep money just in case something happens. Listen, if someone is arguing, a buyer and seller arguing over $500, yes, everyone looks to the real estate agent. But before they look to the real estate agent, we're already saying, hey, listen, we got this. We'll take it and we'll get to the closing table, because that's ultimately your goal. Buyers and sellers, need to get to the closing table.
Yeah, I usually ask the cooperating agent to give $450 and I'll give $50.
$4.99. You throw the dollar in.
I'll make the deal.
Yeah.
Because that might be your only shot. I had a chance to make a deal last week, and this week the guy says, well, my offer's off the table. And I said, well, I'm willing to contribute. And so it changed in a week. We had that one shot to maybe get him. I don't know if he was a serious buyer or not, but last week we had that shot and we didn't grab him, and now maybe we lost that buyer.
Yeah, that old adage, the first offer is usually your best offer, really tends to hold true. Now, does it hold true every time? No, there's exceptions, but in the overwhelming majority that we've seen, it does definitely hold true. And even if you don't believe it's a realistic offer, usually you find out 6 months, a year later, that was the offer to take.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago a guy didn't present an offer because he thought it was too low, and that they eventually ended up selling it for less than that offer. So verbals don't mean much. I tell everyone to put it in writing, but make the offer. You don't know your seller's motivation sometimes, and they may take the offer, or that may be the new market of what it's really worth.
Now, a lot of listing agents are doing this coming soon. I just got off the phone actually with Marshall Sklar, and we were talking about just marketing and such. And one of the things that a lot of people are doing this is, whether it's Zillow coming soon or other coming soon types of vehicles, to double sign. Because, it was, 2%. I think it's increased a little bit over the years because there are more tools to those listing agents. So it's never been more important now, than now to get listings and get a lot of them, because when you start to, get listings, you own the market. You own, the inventory owns the market. What do you think about this coming soon vehicles? Is there something that, is it in your marketing plans or not? And what do you think about, going forward?
I don't know much about it, to tell you the truth. This is the first time I've heard about it,
So,
and thanks
I'll
for
put you
giving,
right on the spot.
thanks for giving
Well,
me the questions before
you're
the
welcome.
before the podcast.
So the way the coming soon works is that if you're a Zillow paid subscriber, we'll go with Zillow first, that you can enter your listing into a coming soon. Obviously, if it's, you have to have a listing agreement that has to be directed by the seller. So it's got to say, Remax Services is allowed to market off market, not place it on the MLS for a period of, whatever the time is. And then you put it on coming soon.
So I
for the
don't.
votes.
So no one else gets to show my listing for a week until it's live.
10 days, week, 10
So I
days.
have 10 days to double hit it. I really don't like that theory, because if we're saying to sellers, one of the reasons you should list with me is all my contacts from Miami to Melbourne, and the MLS exposes your listing to all these people, why would I want to pocket listing it for 10 days? Unless I have the greatest buyer in the world who's going to pay top dollar. But I think the reason most people list with realtors is because of our wide exposure.
I love the rebuttal to that. The answer is the first answer when I've asked a lot of people about it. For the first answer, that really makes sense, and it really says, you're absolutely right. If you go order a listing and you say, listen, 92, it's about 92% of all home sales are sold through the multiple listing service. But then you say, we're going to take the multiple listing service out of it for the first week or 10 days. Well, aren't you,
I think
contradicting yourself?
Yes.
And you're not cooperating and collaborating. So, and quite honestly, I wanted to see how it works. So I became a paid subscriber about 2 months ago, just to see how the coming soon kind of works, because I know that a lot of people are doing it. And it's it's an interesting thought, but I like.
Our first responsibility is to our seller. As much as we want to double hit listings, and I love to double hit, because then I have control over the lender and watch the inspection and kind of watch the whole deal. It hurts the seller, and then so our goal is to get it out to as many people possible for the seller. If it's this coming soon, then I don't think they're getting proper exposure. I know people are surprised at my answer probably, but that's our job, is to get them top dollar. And if we get them top dollar, we brought up the comps in the neighborhood, and we brought up our future income too. Now, if I'm working on the buyer's side, then I'm trying to get the price down for the buyer.
Right. And if you're working with a seller, how do you get a price reduction? Do you do it in by phone? Do you do it in person? Do you?
I send my assistant. No, you just have to go in there, and I have an 888 service that records all the showings. So I go in there and I say, here's the feedback. We've had 20 showings. Here's what's sold in your price point around you. Something's wrong. And why? Everyone always says, why isn't a house selling? Price. It always comes down to price.
Or exposure.
Well, yeah.
I mean, some people just, they don't have the same reach as other people. And listen, you're spending a lot of money on marketing. Most top agents are spending a lot of money on marketing. They're spending money on direct mail marketing. They're spending money on, online ads and all these different things. Whether it's video and all this other, so you're going to have more exposure than most. Especially with, when a seller chooses you. Well, what else is it other than exposure? If you take exposure, you're absolutely right, it's the price. And if you take, you know, the price reduction, if the price entry point is so important, right? And we kind of, I don't want to say, cave in, so to speak, and allow the seller to dictate the price rather than the listing agent to really know what the market is and know what the price is. I don't think you've done your job, and I don't think you did the best serve. You didn't do your job for the seller.
Yeah, sometimes we've all are at fault on that. We've all taken overpriced listings thinking we'll get them down, and we don't want to be the second one in because the first one may sell it, and we're competitive to get listings, so we're all at fault. They call them 4 agents, one gives them an outlandish number, and they're like, we want to try that number with you, Brian, and I'm like, well, that number's not very realistic, but what are you supposed to do? Someone said it's worth that, so I said, okay, we'll try it for a short time, and then we got to reduce. I tell people if they're going to try a price higher, try it for a couple weeks, because people all rush in, it's a new listing, in 2 weeks it's still kind of fresh in their mind, but if you reduce in 2 months, they don't remember that house.
No,
you should really reduce after a week to 10 days, so they remember what house it was.
May even get it into your listing agreement and say, okay, I'll go with your price first, but if it doesn't sell in those, the 14 days, then we'll put in a listing agreement that you can reduce to my price. Something to the effect like that. But so price reductions are big in this market. How are you getting listings?
Getting listings by following up. I think one of the problems we have when we get so busy in real estate is there's a listing out there right in front of your nose that you can't talk to them 6 months ago and you haven't stayed in touch at all. So I try to at least stay in touch with them somehow, emails, texts, phone call, at least so they remember you. You may not get it, but so I stay in touch with past listings that I went on. I think they called you on a listing, they're probably going to sell at some point, so they're right in front of you. The mistake we make as agents is, I see agents who have parties for their clients. I should do that. Right. We're all chasing the new seller or the new buyer. Well, what about our past customers who could be our referral source?
Developing relationships. That's what we've become. That's what, when you look at, people saying, oh, there's pressure on commissions and lower commissions and pressure on the real estate. Listen, if you do right by your customers, they're going to keep coming back to you. And you develop that relationship, you keep in touch with them. You acknowledge and appreciate, because everyone likes to be appreciated and acknowledged, right? You're going to have that relationship for a very long time, and they're going to give you referrals. So the average person knows at least one person that's going to buy or sell this year. So when you're looking, for every person that you bring in, you have an opportunity to potentially get one referral per person.
Mm-hmm.
Now listen, maybe those referrals won't translate to money or translate into a sale because they have another friend that's an agent or whatever. But the more people you put in your database, more real people that you actually develop a relationship, the better for you and the more opportunity for referrals.
Yeah.
Because I think the referral business right now is blown up. It's huge. As far as referral agents and referring across the world, getting in those referral checks.
I think when someone refers you, it's like, they trust you because their friend referred you. So when you're one of 4 called in, they're like, well, I don't know this Brian Boles guy, and why should I go with him? No one's recommended him. I've just seen his stats, and I don't know if he's going to do a good job for me. So when someone refers you, or 1 or 2 people, they feel like, wow, I can trust this guy. He's got a good reputation, or he's going to work hard or answer my calls or something. When you go in there blind, you're just a number.
No, agreed. So, one final thing that I'll ask you about. So, 2. One is,
Wait a second. Okay.
Hold on.
All right, you can ask me.
Okay. All right, one thing.
No. Go ahead.
So, Where do you see the market? Where do you see, not just the market, but where do you see, with the quote unquote disruption in the industry, whether it's the iBuyers, whether it's the Zillow offers, whether it's Zillow opening brokerages, all these different things, the flat fee companies and all this. Where does the role of a real estate agent really lie?
I think sometimes you have to not read the garbage. The recession is coming, the world is ending, we don't have an agreement with China and so you kind of have to go in and block the noise, I call it, because we used to tell players in pro baseball, I spent some time in front office and scouting, don't read the articles. Just go out, do your job. You're gonna have critics every day, just don't read the newspapers. So I think what we have to do is block the noise and just continue to do our thing and adjust to what isn't working and go to something else that may now. There's changes all the time. When we went to Flex MLS, we all said, Flex, we're gonna hate Flex. Now I think Flex is great. When we went to drones, I'm like, oh, drones. And now you see the ocean and Intercoastal and Atlantic Avenue or Meisner Park. I'm like, wow, this is really nice. So I was one of those who, put my foot down and I'm like, I don't want change. Change is bad. Everything we've changed to is increase the market. When texting happened, I'm like, texting? What happened to where you had to go to a payphone and just return a call? And texting now, if you don't respond in 5 minutes, they're like, what's wrong with Brian? He didn't get back to me, I'm on to the next stage. And so we adjust to the changes in the market and we see what works and what doesn't. Some of these things aren't gonna work. Right. And I don't know which, until I use them or see them, I can't answer, if coming soon's gonna work. In my opinion, I don't think it's good. Zillow, they've made agreements with other parties now, and everyone said it's going to be awful. I still get some decent Zillow leads, so you see what works, and if you see someone being very successful trying this over here, maybe it's time to move your marketing money towards that.
Right, absolutely. I mean, I remember I tell a story all the time. Back in like 2003, 2004, I remember getting text for a showing instructions, and I couldn't believe that I had to pay 50 cents for the idiot who, on the other line who texted me. Now obviously, the real estate industry is somewhat slow to change, and typically they don't change. Most people don't change until they have to change, right? So, I say embrace the new technology. Take a look at it. See how you can integrate it into your marketing or integrate it into your business. And if it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you and you don't like it, don't do it. So what? You certainly can. It's still the fundamental and basic principles of selling real estate. You got to be in front of customers 90% of your day. That's really what you want to do. And when you don't hit 90%, then to me it wasn't a good day. So that's the whole premise. All right. So last thing.
Yes.
What do we not know about Brian Boles that you care to share?
I really do have a full head of hair, but I shave it this way on purpose. What don't you know? Like what? What do you mean?
No, just anything. Something personal, something, just something that we don't know about Brian Boles. Make you more human.
Make me more human.
No, just something that you
love. Movies, love going to sporting events, love, just seeing people, love mentoring people. I coached inner city kids and loved it for 2 years, and I take phone calls from young agents all the time asking me questions, and there's someone in our office been calling me the last couple days, and I spent some time trying to tell her, this might work for you better than that. So I enjoy mentoring agents too, but outside of real estate, movies, coaching, going to sporting events, reading, your typical.
I think the inner city kids won like the national championship because
We,
Just
we didn't lose the game in 2 years, yeah. And they got cookies after the game.
Brian's a little competitive, as you know. So thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you,
I
Dave.
appreciate it. This was great. Hopefully you guys learned a lot and can integrate some of these principles into your business, because this is what Breakfast with the Broker is all about. It's helping people out there to really understand the business, whether it's a consumer or a real estate agent. You know, we like to look at consumers and see, you know, what their trends are, what their, you know, data points are and such like that. So we really appreciate you guys viewing it, and we have started a YouTube channel, and we've gone ahead and translated these videos onto the YouTube channel, which is Breakfast with the Broker, on our YouTube channel. So we thank you very much. And hopefully we'll do this next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Not hopefully, we will be doing this. And Brian Boles, you're the best.
Thank you. Do I get a raise?
No, you're a legend and you're a mine. Take care, guys.